We're back after 2 terrible days without being able to go live. I apologise for not going live for the last 2 days, and I apologise that this will only be 10 minutes long, and I'll very quickly explain why that is after I've said what I say at the start of every video, which is that YouTube doesn't monetize coronavirus content, and that's why I started doing these live videos. If you want to know more about that, check out one of the first 10 videos in this selection, this playlist of videos, but I don't have time to talk about that because I only have 10 minutes. Basically, going live from the park every single day chewed into my data, something chronic. I didn't realize it was eating away at my data really bad, and so basically I ran out of monthly data. You know, I have 7 gigs of monthly data on my account, and I just totally ran out, and that's why I couldn't go live the last 2 days. I thought it was the weather, I thought it was the network. I was like, you know, are there lots of people online because there's kids working from home instead of the usual kids being at school and stuff like that? But then it just turned out I checked my packet and I'd run out of data for the month, so I need to be more careful about how much data I'm using, which means I'm going to try and do this in just 10-minute chunks instead of 30-minute chunks. So it's going to be shorter stuff and it's going to be faster stuff. I'll try my best to speak to people. Can you stream in lower quality? Maybe might use less data potentially. I need to look into all of these things. I bought an extra gig of data so that I could do this, and I want to do 10 minutes today so that I can work out exactly how many gigs I use. And morning Mo, I'm happy to be back. Sorry I used up, it was data problem. It wasn't anything to do with anything other than me running out of data. I need a pocket Wi-Fi is what I need, and then that wouldn't be an issue at all. But I'm happy to be back with you guys. What a beautiful day, eh? Look at that, man. Beautiful blue skies here in Tokyo, Japan. People out there still running around in the parks. Right, oh, where is he? There he is. And then you've got people over behind me here still doing their morning exercise, their Tai Chi. The park is still as it usually is. Instead of people playing catch over here, yeah, it's a beautiful day. Sometimes we see people down here playing catch, but we've got is, I think it's a mother and son playing badminton or something. So glad to know it's just a date. Yes, I'm sorry, I super apologize. I did post a couple of post messages on my community board of my channel, hoping that people would notice or see them, but I don't know how they work, to be honest. I've only posted 4 times in that way, and I don't know how if people can find out about them. So this is going to be fast, guys. I want to keep this to 10 minutes. I bought an extra gig of data, and I think my plan runs from the 21st of each month to the 21st of the next month, and today is the 12th, so I've got to get through 9 more days on this 1 gig of data. So I'm going to do 10 minutes today, and then go check out, I'll check out in my plan to see how much 10 minutes of video chewed into my data, and then we'll work out how many minutes a day I can do on that 1 gig. So update from Tokyo, Japan right now. Big day tomorrow, but that means that I'll report on it on Saturday. Tomorrow's Friday, right? Okay, it's a community thing, I don't know, right, yeah, so it's not a great way to send messages to people, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, big day tomorrow because they're going to decide on whether or not having a state of emergency here in Tokyo, Japan. Abe, the Prime Minister, will make an announcement about that on the 13th. That's tomorrow, the Friday the 13th. And that will set the course for the next few weeks. They're talking about the 19th also being a very big day to decide on things for the future, where the country's going and stuff like that. But the big news from Tokyo, Japan is that the numbers don't add up. There's something wrong with the Japanese numbers. They just don't add up. Every other country in the world seems to be following the similar sort of trajectory, but Japan's are staying down here, so it looks like they're not testing as many people as other countries in the world. So I don't know if the numbers are giving people a clear picture. I see you're cutting it close, but they're not, as far as I know, they're not up to anything. That we'll find out. Ryan will find out about what Abby's going to say on Friday. He's going to make an announcement tomorrow, and then I'll be able to report on that on Saturday morning's live stream. So if I have enough data, sorry again. But basically right now in Japan, there's not too much time. The numbers kind of were settling down a little bit, and then there's a little spike over the last couple of days. So I'm not sure if that means anything. I kind of have a little suspicion that the Japanese government started sort of under-reporting until other other countries went past, and now Japan is down at like 9th or 10th on the list, and so then they start sort of kicking in with the report again and getting the numbers back there, and they basically foresaw that this would be a nightmare for the country. They didn't want to be, because you hear about it right now, you hear Italy's name in the press all the time now, because Italy's the major country where it's happened. I think the Japanese government maybe were a little bit worried about that, so they've tested, I would say, a tenth of the people that they've tested in other countries, so it's kind of concerning that the numbers don't add up here, and it's hard to get a clear picture of what really is and isn't happening. So, but if we go with the numbers, if we trust the numbers, things don't look too bad compared to other countries. You look at Italy's in complete shutdown. They did just announce from the World Health Organization that they're calling this a pandemic for the first time, and that's hit the stock markets again after a massive drop in the stock markets. I think it was on Monday morning when Saudi Arabia decided to dump their oil price, which with the weak confidence after coronavirus, the change in the oil price just shattered the stock market for a day. Black Monday they called it. But watch out for that. I'm thinking the Japanese government is doing a better job than other parts of the world. People are still out and about and living their lives here, so the panic that I've heard about in other parts of the world just isn't quite there, and maybe that's the main thing that governments need to be doing. Is that governments actually need to be thinking, right, what's the bigger picture here? What's important, because is reporting all these figures actually helping people, or is it causing more problems with stress, with people losing jobs because they can't go to work? There's major concerns about America because of the way that American welfare state is structured. Basically, if you're sick, you still work in America, is kind of the sort of prevailing wind, if you like, down there. So people are less likely to take days off work sick, and they're less likely to go to the hospital because it's extremely expensive in a sort of insurance-based health system. Whereas a national health system, for example, in the UK, you wouldn't actually think about that. You wouldn't be like, oh, can I afford to do this? So there's concerns about America with that kind of culture for work. The one thing I sat and waited on you going live, and you go live. Yeah, it was 2 days, yesterday and the day before. I ran out of data on my plan for the month, so I've bought another gig, but we're only going to go 10 minutes at a time, guys. We're only going to do 10 minutes today. I'll work out how many megabytes of my gigabyte that 10 minutes chews up, and then every day we'll kind of ration it a little bit more. I was maybe being a little bit optimistic going half an hour a day. It was fun though. I really enjoyed doing it. I was so disappointed when I couldn't go live. I did try to go live. I was standing in here in the park, and one day on Tuesday, I think it was the first day I didn't get to go live, I did speak to the camera for 10 minutes because the clock was ticking, and I had like a sort of blurry screen, and I literally did a live for 10 minutes in the park on Tuesday with this blurry screen and with the circle going round and round in the middle of the screen and stuff like that. But the clock was ticking, so I thought, oh, I don't know if people can hear me or not, so I better just do this and hope people can hear me, and then afterwards not a thing. So yeah, I know. I think it's Wi-Fi. I need a pocket Wi-Fi. I was just reading the comments here about how to do this. I think I need pocket Wi-Fi, which would then not go into my data. So what was that, 25th of March? Hope I still go. Well, I mean, the 13th is your first thing to look at. We'll find out on the 13th what's going on, and see what happens there. There haven't been that many cases, but the last few days they seem to be kind of rising again. But if you look at the numbers for Japan and compare them to, say, Italy or Germany or France, or even the States and Korea, they're very, very different. I would definitely rather be in Japan than the UK right now. So a friend of mine did sort of mention that the kind of Far East mentality is more about protect society over the self, move as a herd rather than as an individual, which makes it easier for people to walk lockstep on this kind of thing, so that they can make a global decision for the country and everybody follows that decision. But in Western countries, especially English-speaking countries, the individual is more of importance than the herd, if you like. So often you'll hear in some countries when the government tells people to do one thing, they do the total opposite thing just to prove a point. So it makes it much harder to have a group sort of way of dealing with something like this. So but things are fine. I'm happy I could go back live again. Thank you guys for checking this out. We're getting close to that 10 minutes mark, so I will chip off. It was just a data issue and I have bought myself a gig, and we'll work out how much this 10 minutes is going to cost me in terms of memory and gig and data and stuff like that, and then I'll be able to work out how many minutes I can give to this every day, and then if I can get myself a pocket Wi-Fi, that'll solve the whole problem completely. But they are kind of pricey, the pocket Wi-Fi's, a few $100s a month or something like that. So but things are fine here. The highway that we usually point out, the highway is still running over there. There's still people in the park, I'm sure you've seen behind me, moving around and stuff like that. And maybe I'll just nip down here before I sign off and do what I like to do, which is also show this junction in the road, because these are the things that have always been the markers of how things are in the reality of Japan right now. So I'll sign off here with Tokyo Skytree in the background right there. Hi. And then there's that junction right there where you can see the cars and the trucks and stuff moving around, so we know that life still trucks along here in Japan. It is warm, it's starting to warm up, so we're going to see the cherry blossoms kicking in soon. So things are fine just right now, but like I said, keep your eye out on the 13th when they'll make an announcement from the government, especially about that State of the Union, that state of emergency thing that's going on as well. And also for the travelers, apologize, but I should have said this, for the travelers, right now what it is Korea and China, a self-imposed 14-day isolation when you arrive in Japan, which doesn't make any sense because nobody is going to fly to a country and then self-impose an isolation or a quarantine. So I've got no idea how they'll enforce that. You have to do it yourself. They're just going to say to you when you get to the airport, you have to go to that hotel and stay there. And people are going to go and then leave. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But right now, for the travelers out there, Korea and China are the two places that they're really kind of cracking down on who can enter the country. But I need to sign off. I've gone a bit past that 10 minutes. But we've got the data back, we've got the live stream back, and I will be back tomorrow morning at 7:30. So definitely make sure you hit that notification bell and stuff like that, because it's only going to be 10 minutes every day, and you have to make sure you get that 10 minutes. If you're watching this back after the fact, thanks for checking in as well. But for now, I've got to sign off from Tokyo, Japan. Thank you to the people in the live stream. I will see you tomorrow.